Welcome to the Asian Supermarket. I'm your host Christina from America.
And I'm Carmen from Australia.
Welcome to episode 13 of ASM. This week we have a lovely guest, Jessica, who is a friend both Christina and I met during our exchange in Seoul. Jessica joins us as a Hong Konger to enlighten us about the ups and downs of being a millennial in Hong Kong, as well as the importance of hobbies and side hustles.
So grab your favorite spicy dish as we chat with our guest in episode 13. Hey everyone, welcome to episode 13. Today we have our special guest Jessica. She's from Hong Kong. We met her on exchange in Seoul and she's currently a customer insights analyst back in Hong Kong, studied food and nutrition science in Nottingham, England. And yeah, Carmen, how did you guys meet each other? I know I met her in exchange in Korea, but how about you?
Yeah, same. Like we were in the same buddy group. When you go on exchange, basically you get assigned to like a few Korean people who bring you around. How did you guys meet? Because you were in a different buddy group. Was it through me or was it like
Only through you then.
Yes, I think so.
Because you two were like probably one of the closest people, that I had in Korea when I was hung out with you guys.
So Jessica, what's a food in Hong Kong that you recommend that just isn't as good or as authentic outside of Hong Kong, or a meal slash food you'd recommend to someone who hasn't been to Hong Kong before?
There's a noodle place in Hong Kong. It's called Tam Zai in Cantonese. And there's two selling points. One is the food, which is really good. They serve rice noodles with toppings. And their soup is really famous for customizing the level of spiciness. So it goes from low, medium, and high. And the low level even got 10 levels so that it suits everyone. So it comes to, when it comes to Sichuan or Yunnan spicy, they're spicy. Usually it numbs your tongue. So if you're a beginner level, sometimes in really traditional restaurants, you can't really do it really low level, but in this place you can. When we meet new friends and getting to know their tolerance of spiciness, so noodle brand that we use to define our spiciness. So if you say, oh, I can't really take spicy, I can only eat level 3 of Tam Jai noodles, something like that. So it's kind of like a local noodle place that everyone knows. Yes, and it's like a universal spicy level. And the second thing is it's the culture and the service. So they're famous for hiring immigrants which don't speak fluent or correct Cantonese. So it's usually, for example,
like me, they can hire me.
The famous one is Mak Yun. Do you know the I think it's cuttlefish fishball. Mak Yun.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yes, like 牛丸魚蛋. So when they say the yun, they say it yin. So it's like mak yin. Yes.
Not accurate.
So people usually make fun of it, but it's kind of like our culture now.
Well, a fun fact about Hong Kong, the name Hong Kong is actually a Cantonese phrase that translates to fragrance harbor. So how do you say in Cantonese? Hong Kong, right? Hong Kong, is that correct?
Hong Kong. Yes, correct.
Hong Kong. The dim sum originated in southern China and it means touch the heart. So the dim sum tradition started thousands of years ago to serve and offer a place for travelers to continue their journey to the Silk Road in China. And so dim sum is very popular in Hong Kong, obviously.
Yeah.
And it's just like different bite-sized snacks. If anyone hasn't, had dim sum before, we all recommend that you try it. Tell us more about yourself. So you're born in Hong Kong.
I was born in Hong Kong, and then throughout until primary school, secondary school, I'm studying in Hong Kong. And then since uni, I went to the UK and studied in Nottingham. And during my second year, my first semester, I went to Korea and meet you guys and go for 1 semester of exchange. So now I'm my first job was because I'm studying nutrition and food science. So my first job was a food technologist in the Ocean Park. So it's quite interesting. Wow. So when I was in Ocean Park, I audited the restaurants and also kiosks for their food safety.
Wow.
Yeah. So because
wait a
in
second.
food science,
So
yeah.
for listeners who don't know, Ocean Park is actually like it's the biggest theme park, right, in Hong Kong. Like it's a main tourist attraction. So yeah, go ahead.
So it's we have Disneyland, and then the second one will be Ocean Park. So it's quite fun, to work in amusement park. Yeah. So now I'm currently a customer insight analyst in retailers. So I do customer research. For example, if a retailer wants to make some changes in their stores to see what customer thinks, or if they have a product that they want to develop, and we want to see if customers preference and if they like it.
So Jessica, how's your experience in Nottingham?
So it's definitely an eye-opening experience for me. A lot of first times.
Yeah.
So it's my first time living abroad, and it really made me really independent. So it definitely improves my cooking skills, because our campus is really far away from city center. Because I'm studying food science, so we're in a science campus, which we're literally in a farm, because the vet students are also there. So in my dorm, when I look out of the window, it's always like I see sheep and horse.
Wow.
So it's like a really rural area. Now I'm into arts, and I joined the uni's art society and tried out my first time life drawing. So it was drawing a nude bald man. It was really, I can never forget the scene, but it's something that you never get to experience in Hong Kong.
They don't have live nude drawing in Hong Kong?
No, I think recently there is, but it's still very new to Hong Kong.
You were in a smaller town, right? And you said you cooked a lot. So was there like an Asian community there? Like, were all the friends that you hung out with, were they more Asian people or?
Yeah, because actually it's also a very famous uni for Hong Kongers. So there's in the dorms, even if we are having different flatmates, there's always Hong Kongers around. So we actually have a group of Hong Kongers which we hang out a lot. On the weekends, we'll cook our dinner together, and even in Chinese New Year, it's always you can always
lively.
feel like yeah.
Did you travel around Europe much when you were there?
Of course.
Everyone always says, right, when you go to Europe, it's like you go to one place, then everyone just goes everywhere, right? So,
yes, because it's really, really cheap to travel from the UK. You know, there was a saying that British can travel to Spain every day for work. So it's that cheap.
Wow.
Yes. So, but for me, I don't, because of the traveling, I don't really miss Hong Kong that much. Like I don't have much homesick like living abroad or studying abroad. So I remember there was one semester break, which is the Christmas break. I didn't fly back home like how usual international students do. So I borrowed a friend's flat in London, and I spent my 2 weeks of Christmas and New Year's in London alone. I think I really like exploring new places. So that's why, and Hong Kong is my home. So I'll be there after I graduate, or I can always be there. But in the uni, it's once in a lifetime. It's 3 years there, and if 3 years gone, you're gone. So I really treasure the time there. And another experience was during Easter break, I went on a road trip to Morocco with my flatmates. Wow. Because my flatmates are in their 3rd year, so it's their final year. So they want to go to some place exotic and exciting. Yeah. So
the food's like Morocco.
The most I remember is couscous. Everything they have couscous. Wow. So they have I think it's called a tangent, where it's like a triangle triangle top, and then they cover it they cover their food, like for example chicken, carrots, vegetables and couscous, and then they cover it, and then they bake it or cook it, And so it's like a traditional container that they serve.
I wanted to have Jessica on the show because I saw, like, we follow each other on Instagram. She's always doing something, she's always got new hobbies going on. She's recently started a side business. So I thought that'd be a really interesting subject, How do you have time to, have so many hobbies? Because, like, what do you do? Tell us. I know you have heaps. Like, you recently started playing guitar.
In terms of hobbies, I think it also relates to the working culture in Hong Kong. So because in Hong Kong, when you started working, it's always like 9 to 5, like office work. It's not as interesting as our school life. And especially when my school life is very very diverse. So when it comes to work, I'm always like, oh, what should I do next? Or what should I do to enlighten my life? So that's why I've been exploring so many hobbies. So one of my hobbies, which I also developed because of work, is calligraphy. Calligraphy is a way for me to calm myself, stay focused on words, and also sometimes I'll write down positive quotes, enlighten myself, and to stay positive. So
that's so nice. And you started a business, right, with the calligraphy?
Yeah.
So what is it? Like, you draw on these like little plaques? Like, tell us.
So it's like a wooden plate. So it's like a cross section of a wood. So they got like wood rings and also the bulk. And because in Hong Kong there's always weekend markets to go, which is like handcraft markets. And sometimes I see their shops just using the wood to be the decoration. So for example, they will put the wood on and then there will be a ring or a bracelet or a necklace on. So I just saw it and I thought the decoration itself is very pretty. So I went to source for the wood and try to do calligraphy and different illustrations on. So and because when we started it was during Christmas. So it can be like a Christmas ornament and decoration. So
it's like self-care for yourself, right? Like doing the calligraphy, but you also make money with the self-care. That's nice.
I mean, is it common for people in Hong Kong to kind of have side business? Because I know, like, since the pandemic started, a lot of people have been starting, like, side businesses, online businesses. Has that been like a trend in Hong Kong?
In terms of side businesses in Hong Kong, it's definitely a trend because of the high living cost in Hong Kong.
For sure. Usually
your normal job it sustains you but doesn't get you where you want to be in the future. So and especially during COVID, people get laid off, and even some of the major brands, they close down their shops, and business has been really hard. So as we always say, support your local business. So that's why people has been trying different sorts of businesses just to see if there's any other ways out.
Like, after the pandemic is better, are you planning on just making it more focused online, or also more, like vendor events in person?
I think I need to develop my skills first because I've been joining some of the markets, and some of the handcrafters are really good at it. So I'm trying to see where I should position myself, because during Christmas and New Year's, festive seasons are always more popular. So I'm thinking how to incorporate in daily life to see if it helps. Because the wooden plate seems, and because of in Hong Kong, your home are really small, so people are not really into decorations. So maybe I'll do something like light, like postcards or personalized cards, something like that, something smaller.
No, that's so smart, because I saw that, with calligraphy you've been doing like wedding invitations, right, for a friend of ours, Alice. That's so cool. It looks so beautiful. I don't even know how you did you go to a class to learn, or were you like self-taught with calligraphy?
Yes. I went on a class of a 4-day course to learn from the basics. So maybe it's actually another way to explore your business as well, is to organize workshops. Because of COVID, people can't travel to other countries, and they're stuck in their home. So they're looking for other ways to spend a weekend, and workshops has been a really great trend as well.
How long does it take you to finish one piece? Like, let's say a simple one, not super fancy one.
2 hours.
For the
Yeah,
simple
because
just for one.
because it's not on the calligraphy timing, it's on the preparation of the wood, because for the wood because it's natural wood, so before I do anything, I'll need to cover it with a coating of plastic, just to seal the wood. And then after it dries, I'll color it, and then need to dry again. And then also before I do the writing, I need to coat a layer of, what do you call it, like a shiny layer, so that it when I do calligraphy on it, it won't absorb into the wood.
Like lacquer,
so that
you have to lacquer the
thing.
thing.
Yeah.
When you get the raw material, you get it in pieces already. Like, you don't have to cut the log yourself, right?
Oh, no. It's in pieces. That's the question I always receive as well. Like, how do you get the wood? Like, how do you cut it evenly? I'm like, no. It's already.
What forest did you go to get this wood from, Jessica?
It's just the handcraft shop.
I want to hear more personally about like the living situation in Hong Kong, because you always hear that Hong Kong is like, the top, or like near the top of like the world's most expensive cities to live in. Like, for our generation, is it feasible? Like, is it a goal for a lot of Hong Kongers like our age to, like, get a house, like get married, things like that? Do you find that the mentalities are like evolving over generations?
It's really, really difficult in terms of living in Hong Kong. So for example, in the UK, when they graduate, they will expect them to move out of the house. Yeah. But in Hong Kong, I don't think it's feasible to move out after you graduate, or even after you marry. So because of the really high rent and the high living cost, so it's almost impossible for us to move out. So
that's
even when you after you married, it's some of them will live with their parents, or live with your partner's parents together, and also they can help carrying your child or something like that. So
because the work culture is
been
crazy,
really
right? Like, if you have kids and you still have to work, then you need someone else to look after your child, things like that. So
when you go to your friends in other countries, your house, I would say like your bathroom is bigger than my house. Because the size of the house is really, really small. It's like in the extreme cases, it's called like caged homes, where it's only like a size of your bed, and then you share your living room with other flatmates. So it's really crazy rents. Yeah.
Can you give us like an idea of how much like the rent or the cost of a house is?
Only in Hong Kong dollars though. You need to convert it though. Like
we'll convert it.
Monthly rent is 20,000.
That's 2.5K USD.
For a one bedroom, or
like a maybe two bedroom flat.
Okay, so about
pretty
ish here, but
about the same.
Yeah, but I guess it depends on the city. Yeah, and then but you're saying it's smaller, so
yeah, it's smaller. Yeah.
Wow. How about in Australia? Do you know how it's like
in Australia? I mean, it really depends. Like, if you're in Sydney and Melbourne, then you could probably have places that are this high. But if you live outside of the city in the suburbs, you can probably get it for like half the price. Like, and it's a way bigger space, and you have like a garden, like a big garden and things like that. So because Australia, the land is so big, if you want to live in the city, then that's just the cost you have to bear. But if you're in more suburban area outside of the city, it's the same in America too, right? I guess. But it's just because Hong Kong is so densely populated that, everyone wants to be in the city, and that's probably why it's so
that's true.
unaffordable.
Oh no, I was just gonna ask about the situation, everything else going on in Hong Kong. What we
the
see.
riots and the
it's
protests.
definitely you can say calm down because of the national security law enforcing, but it's still affecting our everyday life. So ranging from our freedom to future educations, because the students have been going back to school now. So it's like we are seeing it enforcing in the schools, like they're wanna having in the educations or and to educate the students. And our age, we're starting to see what best for us to path our future. So some of them at my age will choose to migrate, and some of them may choose to stay. But one thing for sure is Hong Kongers always stay true to themselves, and it definitely enhances our own sense of identity.
You're going to stay.
That's crazy.
I'm still thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just hard because it's a country that, you know, it's your home country, right? So it's like, how can you? But then when it changes to a point where it's like hard for you to stay, then, you know, what can you do?
On a lighter note, I'm just curious because usually we like to ask if there's any unique destinations in your home country. Is there anywhere you recommend, or even food, you know, like hidden food gems, or like
I always bring foreigners to some places that they never speak English, so that they can't order food without me, like those places.
Then you feel so important.
Yes. And the locals will be like, oh, foreigners, like, oh,
Wow.
they're coming, something like that. Yeah. If I hidden gems, I would definitely recommend the rural areas. So I was telling Carmen that I went diving yesterday. So it's because of COVID, people has been exploring the rural areas and suburb areas, and there's a place in Cycle which is more on the new territory side, and there's a lot of piers that can go to outer islands and to explore. Yeah, because in Hong Kong, in the when you leave the city centers, there's actually a lot of different national protected areas where you have like different geographic sites, and you can see the rocks and the how they create themselves, something like that. And it's really eye-opening, and like it's not as bad as like Thailand or other like Asian countries. Yeah.
Wow. How far away is it from like the main city?
From the main city, including the ferry, it will be like 2 hours.
And we have to go climb that mountain. What is it? Lion? Is it Lion Rock?
Lion Rock Mountain.
Yeah,
it's like
I
the
wanna do that.
mountain of Hong Kongers. So we have a song called "Xi Di San Ha," which means under the Lion Rock Mountain. So it kind of resembles Hong Kongers' vibe and how they strive for their lives. So every time, I think even if we go abroad, we always, when we hear this song, it'll be like, oh, it's like really heartwarming. It's named as Lion Rock Mountain because the edge of the mountain, it looks like a lion's head. So that's why it's named.
Thank you so much, Jessica, for joining on today. We had a lot of fun.
Thank you for having me.
Stay tuned for episode 14 as we speak with a guest who's a ABC, so American-born Chinese.
He comes from a Hainanese background, and he's going to be talking with us about the generational and cultural gaps within the immigrant story and how the non-profit career world works.